just so I guess I say all that to say, don't have those hangups of worrying about what people are going to think. Who cares what they're going to think? Let's give them the opportunity to think something. Because that's, one of the other mistakes I've made is just not put enough shit out because it's not ready, it's not good enough, it's not as good as this guy that I'm a fan of or this girl that I'm a fan of. You know what I mean? Like, nah, dude, put it out there. The world is, somebody's gonna like it. You know what I mean?
1, 2, yeah. Come on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, you are tuned in. This is for the SB1200, ASR 10s and NBC heroes. This is for the crate digging, loop getting, sound manipulators, the Fruity Loop reasoning machine innovators that pump the bass and frequently freak the kick in a stand till it slaps in your speakers. The sound providers that make sure the song is tight. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live. Shout out to the producers, Beats Grinding Life.
Welcome to the Beats Grinding Life podcast with your host, Siren, a weekly interview podcast with inspiring music producers, where every week you will learn from a different music producer how to potentially take your music career to the next level.
Today's episode of Beats Grinding Life is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audio download and 30-day free trial at beatsbooks.com. Over 180,000 titles to choose from on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Some recommended readings by past Beats Grinding Life guests like 48 Laws of Power, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Secret, Tools of Titans, and The Song Machine are all available with Audible. Once again, go to beatsbooks.com to get your free book. What's up, Beat Grinders? This is another episode of Beats Grinding Life. I'm your host, Siren Beats, and with us today we have Rev Shines.
What's up, world? How y'all doing?
What up, man? What up, man? Thank you for coming on the show, man.
My pleasure, man. Really appreciate you having me.
Oh, no doubt, man. You guys, Rev Shines is a legendary DJ, radio host, and producer from Portland, Oregon, my hometown. He is a DJ for the hip-hop group, the Lifesavas. Rev Shines is well known for his vinyl collection and travels around the world to stockpile rare gems. He is the guy that Questlove credits for building his record collection. As a producer, he just released a 12-inch single with one of Buffalo's top MCs, Conway the Machine, entitled Grimey Shit. Yo, Rev Shines, thank you for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate you.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Glad to be here.
No doubt.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yes, sir. Man, you guys, Beat Grinders, this show really means a lot to me. Rev Shines is from my hometown, Portland, Oregon. I've been looking up to this guy since I was in high school. Not going to tell you guys how old I am, but it's a very long time. So, man, I'm ready to hop into this, man. I just gave a brief intro on you, man. Why don't you expand on that and let the listeners know a little more about who you are?
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good intro, man. I mean, I've been a music lover my entire life. I mean, when I was a little kid, I was trying to, write songs and sing and play instruments and whatever. None of those ever really took off in a crazy way, but as I grew up, I got into other things, and then kind of really, music always being a big part of my life, kind of found it as a way of life again in high school. Maybe around junior year is when I really decided, like, I'm gonna have a rap group, and I'm gonna try to be, I don't even know if it was a DJ at the time I wanted to be. I was into accumulating music and records, and yeah, nice. Man, that just kind of kept going. I never got sick of it. Other things were baseball cards and other things that were hobbies and came in. Music always was just kind of there, and learned a little more with each kind of phase of my life. And yeah, but after high school is when I really decided, like, yo, this is it. Like, I'm gonna try to do this forever.
Nice, man, and it's working out, man. For sure.
It's worked out, it has its ups and downs, but, I had a conversation with Versatile from Lifesavas earlier today, and we talked about, you feel rich just being able to still do it. You know, the fact that people out there even care, like you interviewing me right now, even, you know, the money that you make is truly like the icing on the cake. You know, judging, you know, what your passion level is, of course, but for he and I, we're such music lovers and fans of this. It's like we're honored to just be, you know, included in any way into the conversations. So
nice,
makes it easy.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, man. Well, I mean, I know first and foremost you are a DJ, and I would love to, you know, talk to you about DJing. But you know, this is a music production show, and so I'm gonna have you put on your producer hat. Then we'll just talk about there we go, and we'll just talk about you as a producer, man. So I mean, you talked about it a little bit just now, but if you can just expand a little bit on how you got into music and what made you want to make beats and be a music producer, beat maker.
I mean, I think like going back as early as possible, I'll probably have this similar answer to a lot of people. My parents were into music. My dad was like an avid musician. My mom wasn't, but was definitely more into music than the average person. She had a wide range of things she listened to. Again, probably like a lot of people my age, my mom was listening to, you know, everything from Motown to, you know, ELO to Stevie Wonder's Motown, but you know what I'm saying, Steely Dan. There was no like real barrier on what she listened to. If she liked it, she liked it. My dad was a jazz head, but also grew up like in the, you know, 60s rock era, so I was listening to plenty of like Doors and stuff like that, as well as Coltrane and Mingus and stuff like that. So I had music around, you know, really always cared a lot about music, you know, always had favorite bands growing up. You know, when I was 5-6 years old, I loved Kiss. You know, I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the theatrics and everything that Kiss had gone on. And then, you know, I loved like Duran Duran and you know, pop groups of the time like that. And then, you know, hip hop came along, and for me, being in Portland, I think it was kind of through breakdancing that I heard hip hop music at first, and instantly latched onto that. Being a little fat kid that I wasn't an agile, you know, breakdancing type. So I was always the kid that had the boom box, that had the music. Now, my parents are from New York. They're born and raised. They both went to St. John's, yada, yada, yada. Dope. So come, you know, by this time I'm 8-9 years old, I'm going back to New York to visit my family, and I'm turning on the radio and I'm hearing Red Alert and I'm hearing Marley Girl. Whoever was on, I guess probably Red Alert, Mr. Magic, people like that, recording their shows, bringing those tapes back to Portland on my ball courts with my boombox. And now I've got these songs, like these versions that people are like, yo, where did you get that shit? Like, yo, what is this remix? Like, mind you, at this point in my life, I didn't even understand the concept of like 2 turntables, you know what I'm saying? Like so I would hear these on the songs I knew on the radio. I didn't understand why they kept starting over and shit like that, you know? So, you know, found hip hop through that. You know, about a year later is when I was in a park at one of my mom's softball games, man, and I hear Sucker MCs in the distance, and I walk over out Alberta Park. And I walk over there, and I hear the record keep starting over. I'm like, yo, that's like in New York. That's like so I walk over there and I see a DJ with 2 turntables, and he's going back, and I was like, holy shit! Like my mind just blown. Like that's how they do that? Like crazy. I had a Kiss t-shirt on, bro. I remember this vividly. I had a Kiss t-shirt on. I begged my dad to drive me home so that I could put on my Puma. I had a Puma warm-up jacket too. It was like Beat Street and shit was popular. And I just want to go home and put the Puma jacket on because I just wanted to be a part of this, man. Like, and that's the day I really became a hip hop head. Like I didn't give a shit about Duran Duran after that. At least for a while. So I, you know, I went down that path. You know, taking a long route here, but
it's all right. I love the story.
Up until high school, and I was buying records, and I knew about sampling and shit like that. And you know, I knew that they were using James Brown and and kind of familiar pieces, you know. But my dad would take me to record stores, and I would get really bored in the record store fast because I would exhaust the hip hop section in like 2 minutes.
Right.
Small little hip hop section. You know, I'm like 15 at the time, so I was ready to go. And so one day, my dad was making dinner. He used to, every like Friday or Saturday night, he would cook a nice dinner. He would play his jazz CDs, and that was kind of his thing on the weekends. And so this one day, he's playing a album by McCoy Tyner called Trident. It's like it's a famous jazz record. McCoy Tyner on piano, Ron Carter on bass, and Elvin Jones on drums. All-star trio. So he's listening, playing this record, and there comes a point in the song where it's a Ron Carter bass solo, and it's, you know, doing what a typical jazz bass solo. It's all over the place, and all of a sudden it comes to a point in the solo where it says doom 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 doom.
Nice.
It goes on from there. And I remember I just stopped in my tracks and I was like, yo, holy shit, like that's the fucking Black Sheep song. You know, I'm telling my pops, like, yo, you know, rewind that back. And, you know, and I run upstairs and I grab my CD and I play it for my dad, and my dad, oh, what is that? You know, and it hit me in that moment, man. It's like, yo, they're not just using like James Brown and shit, or just taking a song that we know from Steely Dan or whatever it is. Like, they're in these little bits of music in the middle of this 10-minute long jazz song, in the middle of this 3-minute long bass solo. There's these little notes make shit. Wow. So reading the liner notes of my CDs, and it's like, you know, such and such a song contains portions of, you know, Smiling Billy Sweet by the Heath Brothers or whatever. I'm writing all this shit down. I went that night, every hip hop CD that I owned, wrote down every single and sample credit that was in there. Nice. And at that moment I'm seeing like, oh shit, this guy used Bob James too. Like, here's another Bob James sample. Here's Les. So I had, now when we would go to the record store, I had a mission. I was like, I'm gonna try to find all these records. So I got into the sample thing like that. I got really intrigued to hear what came right before and right after all of these pieces of these songs that I had grown up loving. You know, what these samples, like what the fuck went through Primo's head when he heard, you know, EVA by Jean-Jacques Perret for the first time? What went into that? What was the moment of music he heard right before he, for the first time, heard a piece that was going to change hip hop and be some shit, you know, some kind of discarded piece of music that all of a sudden now is breathing life into shit 30 years later, man. And that just opened me up, man. And, you know, from there, you know, just learning all the shit, then, you know, I'm buying Ahmad Jamal records and I'm like, oh, this is dope. Nobody sampled this part yet. And starting to sample, and, you know, that's how that's really like the evolution of it for me.
Okay. That's an awesome story to hear, man. You know, I mean, that some of that is nostalgia for myself, you know, just hearing like your dad, you know, your mom and dad heavy into music. You know, always listen to it, and that's kind of how you got into music, and then eventually into hip hop production. You know, that's dope, man. Just by chance, I mean, your dad had a huge record collection, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say huge, but it was substantial, and it had it just had cool shit. Like, you know, he had some semi run of the mill stuff, but nothing in it was that popular. You know? All kind of obscure.
More quality than quantity.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most like kind of common knowledge jazz record he had there was probably like Return to Forever, you know. So even that was like kind of experimental music, you know, for its time.
I'm just wondering, did you inherit any of his collection?
Oh, absolutely, I did.
Nice.
A couple of like Idris Muhammad records that I got early on, and he had one record on Strata East that I definitely ended up in my collection, and a few things. My mom too. My mom had a few records that I definitely borrowed early on and never gave back.
Right. Nice, man. Nice. So, you know, you said that you were eventually taking records yourself and sampling yourself that you knew that other producers didn't take. So what equipment did you do that on? What was your first equipment or what was your first piece of software or equipment that you started off with?
So I mean, again, like I hear a lot of people that have followed this path say about their early, approach was, I mean, I was making pause tapes first.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely looping shit up. Even before I was like making beats or whatever, we were making remixes of songs and looping shit up. So by the time I, figured out records, you can loop shit up, I first started with that, just looping stuff on a tape.
Nice.
But then my first like actual thing, which is still some total toy of a piece of equipment, I bought this Gemini DJ mixer that had like an 8-second sampler on it. And so my first like beats beyond the pause tapes were, I would have a loop on the 8-second sampler or some kind of sample I'd be triggering, and then I had the 2 turntables. So I would have like one turntable would be playing like cracker beats, like just a break beat off a cracker beat record, and then I'd be playing the loop over it, and then maybe I'd have another record with like a acapella or something, and I'd be cutting in. Even sometimes I had like one that had a horn, and I'd be like cutting the horn in, and I would just record that live, and those were my first beats, man. And then it wasn't until I met Jumbo and Verse in about 98, 99, 98, I would say.
Okay.
97, 98 is when I first got the SP1200, I think.
Oh, nice. Legendary piece right there.
Yeah, no, exactly. I still have that too. Man.
Nice. What was the story behind that? Was it something that you had to save up for, or was it something that you were able to cop pretty quick, or what?
So that was, so basically after I met Jumbo and Verse, my earliest involvement with those two was basically coming over to the studio with an arm full of records, stuff that I had kind of discovered, and there's a sample, there's a bass line on this, there's some drums on here, whatever. And I would go over and basically lend those records to Jumbo or make suggestions or whatever.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it's kind of a returning the favor after about at least a good year of that, and kind of earning my keep, I guess you'd say. That SP1200 was given to me by them.
Wow.
And it was kind of like, yo, here's your chance to, basically contribute and add on, So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome right there, man. I think there's a gem in there is not being selfish, man. I mean, you could have easily hoarded those records to yourself, but you extended that to the fam, and yeah, man. That's what's up, man.
That's one thing I've noticed in this is like this music shit really isn't that fun if you don't have people to share it with. I mean, as like corny as that sounds to say, it's like it really isn't though. It's like watching other people geek out the way I do over certain shit is what makes it all fun. I know people, I shouldn't say I know people. I've known or experienced people over the years that don't want to tell people what a song is they play or whatever. And like, I guess part of me kind of gets that too, but I don't know, how fun is that really if you're the only person that knows something?
Right. Yeah. We were just talking about this last week with the last guest, the amazing SB, and he said that if he has a sample, he's not going to tell anybody where he got it. And I told him it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of an old school thing where you don't give.
Yeah, I will say with samples, if it's something I sampled, that's a little different. I definitely have a circle of homies that I would tell if somebody asked me.
Right.
But I definitely want to just put all that out there because
exactly.
I don't have a whole lot to worry about. I'm not on the radar like that, but I do have friends that have gotten fairly screwed over by that. It's a fine line. If an artist got sampled, they should get their due out of it or whatever, but it's, I don't know, a certain amount of it has to leak through, or else you see what happened where for a while people just stopped using samples or whatever. There's kind of a fine line there, man.
True. Okay, man. Well, who were some of the producers that inspired you when you were coming up?
I have to say earliest would be Larry Smith, who was doing like I know I'm dating myself a little bit, and at the time I didn't even realize it was that I was a fan of his quote unquote production. I just was a big Houdini fan, and then as I got older, I realized it was because of the texture of their music that I really gravitated towards them. So Larry Smith, I mean, props to him, one of the illest hip hop producers of all time. If I had to give you kind of the evolution from there, I would say the next producer or producers that really caught my ear was the Bomb Squad.
Nice.
That was the next where I was just like, holy shit, like, what am I hearing right now? From there, I would have to say Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest, and then J Dilla. I mean, Dilla's the one that, like, really... I was trying to do my shit already. Like, I was already trying to make beats and be, a DJ for a rap group and whatever. And but hearing his stuff is what definitely made me kind of further it and kept me interested. Just because he was doing things that I wanted to do. I wanted to know how to do, but he was also doing things that I was already doing that I was kind of feeling in my own way, maybe even insecure about to some degree. Like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this right. But then later you're finding, well, man, that's kind of how Dilla was doing it. There was no rules and whatever. And I mean, we can go on about him. Everybody out there listening by now probably knows the importance of what he did. So this is no secret that, he's definitely the one who has inspired a lot of this generation of cats like me to do it. So yeah, he's kind of the last one that's really, life-changing situation. And then, but currently there's definitely cats too that I look up to. Obviously, Jake One, who's one of my close homies, and Knots. Nice. Guys like that are just carrying the torch of like sample-based production, but taking it on there where it doesn't have to just be about sampling, and both of those guys are still very connected to the underground and the independent movement, but also doing big records for mainstream. Mainstream artists. So it just gives that kind of hope that we are just still all one genre, because there's been a lot, obviously, division created over the years. Yeah, that's for sure, man. And also, it's reassuring that you can still do your music and reach a big platform as well. Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, there's some names on there that you mentioned that we don't hear on Beats Grinding Life, and so that definitely gives some of the beat grinders out there some research to do. I hope you guys do your homework and check out all of those producers. So, all right. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I'm here on Beats Grinding Life, man. We love having a great time. We love chatting it up, but it's not all about having a good time on this show. Why? Because we like to talk about the major setbacks and failures. And you're smiling now, man, but we might wipe that smile off your face, because I want to know what is the biggest setback or failure that you've had in your career that you can tell us about, so maybe we can avoid the pitfalls as aspiring producers. Being on paper. A lot of people out there know what I'm talking about, man. I'm on paper. I can't go to Canada. It's fucked up a lot of shit for me over the years, touring and getting gigs, especially living in the Pacific Northwest. Right. I've been going to Vancouver, BC, and all these other, amongst other places, but just a little quick 5-hour drive up the road is one of the most incredible cities, around. And I just, I missed a lot of those opportunities. I missed tours with Lifesavas. I missed the opportunity to kind of build my name up there over there. So just don't do dumb shit. That's just a good life. And I was around the wrong people at the wrong time about, 17 years ago. But if you get the opportunity, just get it squashed. Just put yourself in a position to be free to roam this world as much as possible. Wow. And try it. Get your shit out there, because there's a lot of people with opinions out there, and whether they're good or bad, man, why not spend that shit on your art? Right. Okay. Well, I mean, that again, that's another answer that we haven't heard on here, and that's a valuable tip for sure, man. I mean, that's a great tip right there. I mean, that I'm not to like overstate it either, because I am absolutely in no way a criminal. I'm not trying to. It literally has been the one thing that has kind of like held me back in my career, aside from my own procrastination and being mentally lazy a lot. So to give maybe a more realistic piece of advice to other people that didn't make as bad of decisions as I did in the past is, just keep pushing, man. It's so cliche, and as many times as I've heard people say that in interviews, it's like, oh God, yeah, fuck, keep pushing, right? Whatever. Easy for you to say, but for real, find out whatever the roadblock is that is keeping you from really striving for what you're trying to accomplish. For me, even just this release with Conway yesterday, there was a lot of steps to get there, and it took the help of some really great people to make it happen. But when all is said and done, it was what my involvement was easy. It's something that I sit here and I dabble in every day of my life. But it's just so I guess I say all that to say, don't have those hang-ups of worrying about what people are going to think. Who cares what they're going to think? Let's give them the opportunity to think something. Because that's one of the other mistakes I've made is just not put enough shit out because it's not ready, it's not good enough, it's not as good as this guy that I'm a fan of or this girl that I'm a fan of. It, you know what I mean? Like, nah, dude, put it out there. The world is. Somebody's gonna like it, you know what I mean? Or somebody's gonna have an opinion of it that is gonna help you, get to where you need to get. But you don't learn shit just hoarding everything. That's for sure.
Man, that's a gem right there, man. Thank you for that. I mean, just for myself, I have tons of music on my computer, on my hard drive, and a lot of it hasn't gotten out just because of self-doubt and just wondering what others are gonna think, But thank you for that, man. That's a gem right there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, man, we're going to hop to the other side of the fence, man. So I want to know, what's the greatest moment in your career thus far?
That's tough, man. The greatest moment in my career. It's hard for me to think back. I mean, I think that's kind of an ever-changing thing. And I mean, I'm having probably the greatest moment right now.
Nice. On Beats, Grinding Life. Imagine that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. The fact that you even reached out is because that things are kind of popping right now, man. That was I had a good release. This is my first real actual release as a solo entity outside of my group. It's the first kind of. I mean, I've had other things, but they've always been more DJ related, mixtapes or remix type of shit. So this is really the first 12-inch that's Rev Shines featuring somebody. It feels really good because this is one of the main things I've always wanted to do. And I plan on doing a lot more of it. And kind of going back to what I said, to really, even though it took a lot of steps and a lot of effort on different people's part, to really see how easy it was in the end and to see what was I tripping about. Even, there's been so much praise, and even in the hateful comments, if you will. Wow. It's just eye-opening, and there hasn't been a lot of that, but even that is really it's valuable shit to read, man, so yeah, man, I'm having that moment right now.
Well, that's awesome, man. You're taking in the moment, as they come, and I mean, like I said, congratulations on the release. I didn't get to hear the B-side. I only got to hear Grimey, and but it's pretty dope, man. So kudos to you, man. Great job.
I'll make sure that you get the digital.
Okay, cool, man. Awesome, man. Thank you. All right, man. Well, you mentioned that your work is your play, and that you get to dabble with music, or not dabble, but you get to make music all day. But I want to know, what does a typical day look like for you? So that way, maybe we aspiring producers, all the beat grinders out there, can set our day up like yours. They do say that if you model greatness, one day you will become great. So we want to model you and one day be on your status.
Yeah, well, I will say I haven't always been like this. But where I'm kind of at now and have been lately is what I'm getting the best results out of. And I would say, first and foremost, man, have a comfortable workspace. No matter how big or small it is, make sure it's comfortable. Make sure it's something that you're going to want to spend a lot of time in. Not only for like your clutter and your feng shui, but also, man, as simple as like investing in a good chair and a good desk that's the right height. I honestly, man, I'm saying this from experience. Just in the last few months, I've gotten a proper chair and desk that like have my posture in a position that, man, I can sit here for hours and not feel like I'm getting fatigued from it.
Right.
So first, have a space that you want to be in. And then second of all, man, just wake up with that on your mind. I mean, that's kind of the thing that's helped me lately is the more serious I get, the more music I crank out, the more music I'm feeling good about. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm thinking about is all that beat that I was working on the previous night. And maybe even, between going to bed and waking up, I'm like, oh, I can make those horns a little louder and, whatever. Right. You're already kind of going into it with a plan. And then, staying comfortable, man. I mean, I some days will literally just order lunch out or have something ready, because something as simple as not having to put a lot of thought into the break that you're going to take midday, so just have that ready, man. Have whatever makes you comfortable, have it on hand, man.
Nice.
And, just push yourself. As beyond that, I can't really tell you, because even having said all that, I still have my days where I'm just like, man, I just can't do it. I sit down, turn the drum machine on, I'm just not feeling it. Right. Maybe I just need to go and, take a walk, smoke a joint. I watch Jesus and Mero or some shit, try to get inspired another way. But, even having said that, you still just keeping the regiment. For me, it's weird. Like, I'm my own boss, so it's hard. Like, DJs, producers, musicians, people like you and me, you punch a clock. Right. So just try to keep yourself on some kind of schedule to where it is treated like that. Because I've had my moments where it's like, I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do today? Well, let's see. I don't have, there's nothing I want to go out and buy. There's no movie I want to go see. Like, I guess I could make music, and then I kind of make music. And, this ended up being a day for making music. Like, nah, man. Have a plan. Like, just... And make yourself stick to that. It for me, it's weird to say, and I'm seeing this every day. But the more time I spend in this room that you're looking at me in right now, the time I want to spend in it. Nice. Because the better I'm getting at the equipment that I'm using, and the more familiar I'm getting with the things around me, and it's getting more and more fun, man. It's just like anything, man. Right. It's going to be more enjoyable and rewarding the better you get at it. Yep. So just that's your cycle right there, and let all that just kind of keep it flowing. Nice, man. Nice. I actually heard an interview with Robert Greene today, the author of Mastery, and he was actually talking about that. When you're first starting out on something, and I'm not saying you're just starting out on making beats, but when you're starting out on something, it's frustrating, but the longer you do it, the funner it gets, the easier it gets as well. For sure. Nobody hits a golf ball perfect the first time, man. Right. That shit, repetition, like. Yep. And don't get me wrong, I've had my moments where I'm like, I'm done. Like, I just need to get real. Like, this isn't popping the way I want it to. It's taking way too much effort to get to here, and I want to be here, and you just got to keep at it, man. You can only see for yourself that practice makes perfect. People can tell you this shit all you want, but until you feel it and see it for yourself, none of these are all just words, Right. So true, man. All right, man. Well, thank you for that, man. Appreciate it. How much of your day do you spend spinning? How much? What was the question? How much of your day do you spend spinning records? Just DJing. Practice. Not that much, man. I will say, man, I need to practice DJing a lot more than I do. I spend most of my time going through records, definitely listening. two records that I'm going to DJ with and records I'm going to sample. I just previewing and getting used to the music. Spinning, not that much. Maybe there's like, on average, maybe there's an hour a day where I'm just playing records and trying them out. But man, it's most of my practice probably comes at gigs that I have because I do try to spend more time, actually making music in my time at home.
Okay. That's what's up, man. All right, man. Well, this next portion of the interview we like to call In the Studio. I'm checking out your studio right now. It looks pretty damn dope. Like you said, it looks like a very comfortable place to be in. But not all the beat grinders can see into your studio right now, man. So just for them, man, we want to know what goes on in your studio, what you do in your studio. And so this is the chance where they get to hear that from you. So want to know, man, what do you do when you first start crafting beats? Is there something that you do? Do you light incense? Do you turn on the lights, turn off the lights? What do you do?
I mean, I'm not for nothing, I'm a smoker. I definitely like to roll something up, smoky, in my head, right? I usually have some caffeine on deck, whether it be either yerba mate or coffee.
Nice.
And yeah, I do like lighting incense. Currently, I'm into Palo Santo, to be exact. I just got back from a trip to the desert and picked that up, which I prefer better than incense sticks. It's nice. It's more natural. But yeah, I do like to have some decent scent in the air. And yeah, man, just go for that. Start listening to records. Nice, man. Great way to set the mood. Sometimes maybe you just gotta watch a Cardi B interview or something. Yeah, right? Okay. All right, man. Well, what's a not so secret weapon you got up in there? I mean, the machine. Dope. It's it's a standard, man. It does everything I need it to do. Shout out to my homie DJ Nature, blessed me with the machine a few years ago. I was kind of reluctant. I was still on the MPC, and he finally got me one as a gift. It was just like, yo, like you need to use this. Right? Yeah. And it took me after I got it, it took me like a good year to really dive into it. I was kind of going back and forth between that and MPC, but now it's go-to. I mean, it's just so easy to use, man. Right. The workflow is great. Okay. All right, man. Well, I want to know, what all do you have in your studio? What's all the equipment that you're currently using? Yeah, I mean, really, that's the main thing. As I look around, maybe we have this basic Alesis keyboard, and then my turntables. I use a Rain 62 mixer, and so yeah, I mean, when I'm sampling, I'm pulling from that. I'm just pulling from my DJ setup. And recording a song in, and I just from there it's really basic in here, man, for real. Okay, nice, man, nice. All right, well, beat grinders, if there's anything that Rev Shines mentioned that you guys found of interest, you guys could go on beatsgrindinglife.com, look under Rev Shines show notes, and definitely have links for those. So yeah. All right, man. Well, this next portion we like to call In the Mix. We're just going to speed things up a little bit. It's kind of like rapid fire. I'm going to ask you some questions. You spit them back quickly to me. But if you need to take your time, man, and answer the questions thoroughly, definitely understand. Okay, cool. All right, man. Do you prefer making beats with samples or without samples? I think I know the answer to this. With. Okay. With, but I have found interest in without. It can be really fun, too. And it's a good way to just kind of stay sharp. Right. Okay. Dope, man. What's your opinion on selling and leasing beats online? I mean, I'm all for it, man. I think, there's as a beat maker, there's nothing better than hearing somebody put some nice lyrics over your beat, you know. And so it's rewarding to get to hear your stuff kind of go beyond just the at home work production that you're doing. And I mean, if you can make this, the goal is to do this for a living for most people. So I mean, I think that's a step in the right direction. Dope. Okay. Plug-in that you think every producer should have in their arsenal. Man, that one is kind of over my head, dude. I don't even use them. I really don't use plugins, man. I use like a lot of just the stuff that's already been made available to me on machine. I use, effects and I EQ stuff a lot. But yeah, I actually, shout out to my man Trox. I need to ask him because he did mention some kind of must-have plugins the other day that I need to see what that's all about. So maybe the next time we do an interview, I'll have a better answer for you on that one.
Nice. So do you mix inside of Machine?
I do. I mix inside a Machine, and then like the Conway joint, for example, that did get mixed, like in a proper studio by engineer and stuff too. So, but I have a lot of stuff lately that, mixing all in Machine and kind of really doesn't need to have anything done with it beyond that. It's
That's awesome, man. I think this is the first where there's a producer that says that he doesn't use an outside DAW. To mix his...
Oh, word. Interesting. Yeah, and I mean, that probably is to a fault, man. I mean, I'm really slow in this technology shit, man. I mean, up until a couple of years ago, I was still strictly on the MPC, man.
Right. So. Okay, well, man, whatever, man. Keep doing it. It's working. For sure, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Do you have a book that you think that every producer should read? And when I ask you that, it doesn't have to be music related, but it can be.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm not a real big reader.
Okay.
I did read the Questlove book a couple years ago, Mo Meta Blues. I really liked that as, I don't know if so much from a producer standpoint, more as like from a music nerd standpoint, but whatever, that guy's got his hand in so much dope shit that, it's still inspiring to see that we had any kind of a similar upbringing or had similar, opinions on things or whatever. I thought that was a really good book, but I don't know if I'd recommend it if you like him and you like that kind of thing. Other than that, I don't know, man.
I think I will check it out. I haven't heard of it, so
it's called Mo Meta Blues. It's just dope, man, and it sounded like you and I are in the same age group, so you probably appreciate it from a music fan standpoint.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have an internet resource that you think every producer or that producers can benefit from? When I say internet resource, I mean a mobile app or a website.
YouTube.
Nice. That's a good one, man. That one's been mentioned on here a lot.
I bet, I'm sure. But for me, it's not the same reason as some of these other cats. I know you can dig on YouTube now, and I do still learn about music getting lost in the sidebar on YouTube. But for me, it's more the moments that I need a little bit of downtime. I go straight to YouTube and I watch Breakfast Club interviews.
Nice.
I watch, who's the latest, Lil rapper. I watch something. I just get informed, man.
Right.
As much as it's not my thing and I don't gravitate towards all that, I don't want to be. If I'm gonna have an opinion, I need to know what the fuck I'm talking about, for one thing. And second of all, I still DJ. I still do very much care about what people half my age have to say about, what's good and what's bad. So I tend to do that. I tune into Ebro and the Breakfast Club and whatever, Charlemagne and those guys, and I listen to what Kanye's crazy ass did today.
Right. Okay. I just found out that YouTube is the number 2 search engine online. That's crazy to Google.
Wow,
yeah, to Google. And I thought about it. I'm like, if I don't search something on Google, I'm definitely going on YouTube.
Real talk. Oh yeah.
It's like always yeah. I never looked at it as a search engine, but that's crazy.
Man, it really is. That's why. Shit.
All right, man. Well, what was your first placement, and can you describe the feeling to us of getting that placement?
God, what was it? Do you remember? Yeah, I can't really remember what it was. The earliest things that come to mind are, there was, first of all, Antoine Majestic, rapper from Portland. He was the first cat to ever A, pay me for my beats, and B, put my shit out on, this is crazy. It's so long ago. I can't remember if it's on vinyl or just a CD, but first cat to put my shit out, my name was on there.
Dope.
But yeah, I guess after that, like Lifesavas. Yeah, so probably Majestic and then Lifesavas.
Okay. Which Majestic album was it? Do you remember?
It must have been his first one.
Okay.
Yeah. And the song, oh my God, man.
Because, man, I bought one of his albums. I'm like, man, I need to go through and look through those credits again.
Yeah, I want to say, so one might have not have been an album, might have just been a 12-inch, and there was 3 songs, and I did one of them.
Okay.
But then on his first album, I'm pretty sure I did like 2 others. And I can't remember the names of them. Oh, man. My bad.
It's all good.
Listen, man.
Shout out Majestic, man. He's a dope rapper and just a cool dude in general, man. Okay. That's what's up, man. All right. What's your favorite song that you ever produced?
Grimey Shit by Conway.
Nice. You guys definitely go check it out. You probably can't get the physical copy, but you can definitely go hear it on iTunes. Is it on iTunes?
Man, it's not even on iTunes.
On iTunes.
I think the only place it might be up right now is on Fat Beats, and I think I saw somebody posted it on YouTube.
Okay, dope.
Same #1 search engine right there.
That's where I found it today, so.
I'm pretty sure that's the main place to hear it.
Okay. What's an album besides one that you worked on that you recommend every producer listen to, and why?
If we're talking about hip-hop producers in the vein of anything, even in the realm of like what I'm doing and what we're talking about here, then you have to get Fantastic Volume 2 by Slum Village.
Nice.
Hip-hop, it's a blueprint, man. It's how your drums should sound. It's how your shit should swing. It's just so musical, man. It's so groovy. It's perfect, man. I mean, it's a perfect album.
Nice. Great way to put it, man. It's definitely a classic. What's that?
Not too many. It's a long album, too. There's not too many albums that are that classic that are that long. Like, it's a long album to be able to really sit through the whole thing. Like,
right.
but Slum, Fantastic Volume 2. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Beat Grinders, if you guys haven't heard it, definitely go to the show notes and check it out. I'll provide a link for you guys. All right. I want you to imagine that you have a pick in one hand and a shovel in the other. I mean, and a hammer in the other. And you've just been asked to go to Mount Rushmore and put 4 new faces up there, but they have to be faces of producers. What producers are you putting up on Mount Rushmore, on the new Mount Rushmore?
Man, I probably have to say Larry Smith, Marley Marl, Dr. Dre, and Jay Dilla.
Wow. I like that, man. I like that. A couple of those have not been mentioned.
Premier, maybe DJ Premier is like peeking over somebody's shoulder or something.
Right.
In the back.
Man.
There's people I can put on that, man. Like,
right. Every day it could probably be different, right?
It really could, man. There's so many cats out there. Big up to Pete Rock and Large Professor, the Beat Miners, the Beat Nuts. Right. There's so many people that I, came up, really being inspired by and kind of borrowing the styles from. So
dope, man. Well, here, this answer, a lot of times we get the same answer. You always get Dre, Timberland, and Pharrell, but what I like about this is, man, it's a little different. We do hear Dilla, we do hear Dre, not Marley Marl and not Larry Smith that much, but man, thank you for your answer. I don't think anybody can dispute this, man. Definitely pioneers.
Right. It's different, like you said.
And it's yours.
Right.
Yeah,
we're not. What about DJ Quick? What about
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what about Diamond D? What about Lord Finesse? This shit goes on and on. There's so many dope ones, man.
Yep, no doubt. Okay, all right, man. Well, I want you to imagine that you just woke up from a dream, and in that dream, you had the perfect studio session. In that studio session, you had one artist, one producer, one engineer, and one random person. Who are those 4 people going to be?
The studio engineer would have to be my homie architect Roy. My artist would be Batin from Slum Village. Wait, who else we got? Engineer, artist,
producer, random person.
producer, it would have to be Jay Dilla, and the random person would be my homie All Night Tone.
Nice. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I would love to hear that. You know, I mean, we've heard Batin and we've heard Jay Dilla together on the track, but not with Rev Shines. And so that would be interesting to hear. Architect Roy, definitely.
That's coming.
Yeah, right. Nice. Architect Roy, you know, definitely from what I know is very professional. I don't know much about him, but
we go check out his project too. And it's Sansai. That's how you pronounce it. Sansai. Dope production, rappers, versatile from Lifesavas is on there, and he's the next one. Yeah.
Sansai, where can we find that?
Is that on your Bandcamp? Yeah. It's on the Architect Bandcamp, which is ARKITEK.
Okay. Dope. Definitely checking that out.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well,
I like to have people around when I'm working, man. I mean, I really do like that. I dig that you said one random person, because for me, sometimes all it takes is the one random person. I mean, it's not random. Right. It's always like
they're there for a reason.
But I like having people around when I work, even if it's just in the early stages of making. If I got a homie over, working on his shit, whatever it is, I got homies that design and do different stuff, and we all been talking about that a lot. Is having sessions. I'm gonna actually have a couple artist homies that actually want to start coming to the lab and doing work while I'm working. Like I nice. Feed off people, and it's dope to meet people that feed off of that same thing.
Right.
So I'll work forever if somebody's in the room with me.
That's what's up, man. Okay. All right, man. If I want to know, if you woke up tomorrow and you lost everything that you had, all those records in the back, all your homies, all your equipment, everything, except for your knowledge and $1,000. What would you do in the next week to restart your career? And when I say you lost all your homies, that means no contacts in your phone, nothing.
With $1,000, probably buy a phone and a laptop.
Nice. Get it cracked.
Or one of those two. I mean, being able to communicate, and then, I mean, really, man, you probably wouldn't even need that. You could probably buy these days you could buy a tablet, and it probably do all that. You could make beats on there. You could get in, being able to communicate is a big thing, and
right.
That's it. Maybe some, I don't know, some portion of that money to set myself up for food for the following month or something. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, man, a laptop and a phone. I hate that answer.
I know. It's so tough, man. It's so hard. People stumble on this all the time, man. I don't even know why I have it in here. But actually, I do know why. It's because a lot of people, they do lose their stuff due to theft. People may get their hard drives broken. I know we've all experienced shit like that. And so, people want to know, hey, what should I do? What's the next thing that I can do? Or there's some people out there that want to get into music production. They may have $1,000 or less, and they just want to know what's the best way to start. So
if I had $1,000 20 years ago, that would have done me a world of good. I didn't have resources back then, and I will say I wasn't the greatest even at being like, all right, I'm going to save up my money and I'm going to make this happen. It was definitely always needing this assistance of other people. So yeah, I mean, if you care enough about this shit, you really want to do it, do make the investment, do invest in yourself. Sometimes it may be not the sexiest thing in the world to have to buy an interface and new quarter-inch cables for your setup,
right?
But man, if that's what you need, do it. I was always bad about keeping up with equipment. I let my equipment go. I would work on it way longer than I should, and then realize that a year later, shit, I've been holding myself back because I'm, 20 versions of this software behind, or whatever. Try to keep up and make the investment, man, because it's worth it. That shit is gonna better you as an artist for sure.
No doubt, man. That you're definitely right, man. Definitely right. Okay, man, well, I want to know, what does legacy mean to you? And when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, man. I mean, legacy to me is the idea that you what you leave behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, how do you want to be remembered? And I mean, I don't know. I do say, like, I definitely don't want to be looked at as a piece of shit when I move on, but I don't put a whole lot of thought into that. I do try to, like, live in the moment as much as possible. So I mean, I guess just that people would see what it was that I gave a damn about, that I was passionate about. I mean, yeah, you want the whole, he was a good person and he was nice to people, or he or she, whatever. I want all that for sure. I want, I don't know. I guess if I had to give you an answer like that I was willing to share with other people, you know, my experiences, my knowledge, my love for life, you know what I mean? Whatever, and just love. Why hoard something that you love it? It's way more fun to share it with people. So.
Nice, man. Okay, all right, man. Well, want to know what's the greatest piece of advice that you received coming up in this game, and what advice would you have to all the beat grinders listening today?
You know, again, if I had to take my entire life, I can't remember. I'm sure there's some other tidbit that somebody hit me off with, you know, that was life-changing. But the one that I can remember is just more recently. And I've been seeing this sentiment a lot, you know. And so, you know, I definitely pay attention to, you know, the quote-unquote signs. And something that I just kept kind of being led to over the past few months was to trust the timing of your process. You know, I'm not the youngest cat in the game, you know, and I do often think, like, I should have accomplished more by now. I could have done this. I could have spent this time more wisely. And maybe that's the case. You definitely don't want to just ride on, like, whatever, I'm going to be lazy and someday somebody's going to smack me in the face. I'm going to be a star or whatever. But, like, man, don't dwell on it, though, either. You know, if you love something and you have the passion to keep doing it, keep doing it. Don't really worry about, I mean, this is an interesting, like, thing to do for a living, because it's also kind of it's a lot of people's hobby too. Right. And it's a lot of people's hobby for different reasons. Maybe because they just legit want it as a hobby, or some people just haven't been able to figure out how to take it beyond their hobby, you know? So, you know, you kind of just keep going because you love it. And, you know, hopefully that kind of turns around at some point, you know, and it turns into something else. Or it's just always something that's your hobby and you love it. Either way, you should have the relationship with it because you love it, you know. It shouldn't really matter at the end of the day whether you're selling 1 million records or not. Obviously, it's probably easier for artists that sell 1 million records to be in the studio all day. Yeah, I get it. But just because you don't isn't a reason to stop doing it. Right.
Nice, man. I like that, man. I mean, I think, you know, you definitely have to love it. That's what's going to drive you to keep doing it, you know, when times are rough too, you know. Totally. When you're not seeing, you know, the progress that you want. If you love it, you're going to keep doing it regardless. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Well, man, if you have any more words for the listeners, please let them know. You know, if you want to let them know what you're working on, what they should be looking out for, and how to contact you if you want to be contacted, let them know.
No, man, more of just more music, man. That's the main thing. I want to keep releasing stuff. I have a couple things I'm working on. The main thing that I'll be working on over the course of the next couple months is an album by the name of Headcase. Nice. That's me, Versatile. Formerly a Lifesavas. It's a project we've been working on for about a year now. That'll be out. And I have a couple other things I'll be dropping between now and then as well. So really just, more and more production. I'm always going to be DJing. You can catch me around Portland. And as far as contacting me, the best thing for me right now is Instagram. You can catch me at RevShines76. That's RevShines 76. And I'm pretty responsive on there, man. I don't got, my followers are still in a manageable amount, so reach out to me and ask me, I'm likely gonna hit you back, you know.
Dope.
Yeah, please do reach out. Oh yeah, and also, you can go to my website, revshines.com.
Nice.
That'll keep you up to date on gigs and releases and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Well, Beat Grinders, definitely check this man out. He's definitely producing some great content. I mean, definitely with your release that you just released today, man. Some dope shit. And so, yeah.
Sold out in 3 hours.
Sold out in 3 hours. I'm pretty pissed about that, but I'm happy for you. So
it's bittersweet for sure.
Yeah, man. No doubt.
Part of me wants to be able to walk into Music Millennium right now and see my record sitting there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But it is also really rewarding to know that you had something that was a hot commodity like that. So
for sure, man. For sure. That's awesome, man. I mean, that's a feeling that, you know, I'm sure we would all love to feel, you know, eventually. So
yeah, man, absolutely.
That's what's up.
And you should go do it. Try it. You can. There's nothing stopping any of us, man. So
true, man. Okay. Well, Beat Grinders, want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Beats Grinding Life. You guys know how it goes. If you found this show of any value, please share it on all social media platforms, especially Instagram, Facebook, and just let us know what you felt about it. Tag me, tag Rev Shines. Let him know what you guys felt about this amazing interview that he just gave, and also give us thumbs up or whatever, and subscribe on iTunes. Just let us know. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Keep making beats, keep grinding, keep living life, and peace.
Peace, love, y'all.
Here at Beats Grinding Life, we want to thank you for listening to another episode. We want to know, what were your biggest takeaways from this interview? Just go to beatsgrindinglife.com and leave a comment on this episode's show notes page. Also, while you are there, go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just click the little button that says subscribe. If you could, please leave a rating and review. Rating and reviews are the best way to show your appreciation because it helps more people find out about the podcast. So until next week's episode, keep grinding.